his own time without even telling the family or police. And it took him almost 2 years to get to the bottom of this sad case, let's put it that way. Now, it kind of revolves around a place that it was very frequented in the area. And this was a bar. I am not sure if it's still open, but it was very popular back then. And again, this is somewhat of a recent case. Froggy Bottoms was this popular spot near Fort Bragg. It was a bar. He had a pool table, and according to people that visited, you were guaranteed to have a good time. Now, Kelli Bordeaux was in the army, and she was no stranger to this bar. It was the place to go try to have a good time. On Friday, 13th, in the year 2012, it was no exception, and she was ready to leave the stress of work and go have fun. She mentioned a few times to her sister back home in Florida that it was hard to turn off work. So, for her, it was easier to find something to keep her mind somewhere else. Now, Kelli was 23 years old. She was only 5'1" and was about 100 pounds, but she, according to her family, she's always been a tough girl who always took care of herself. Now, I saw this interview with the siblings. She had a brother and a sister, and they describe her by, as I should say, the perfect combination of tough and sweet, bubbly, fun, always looking to have a good time. But she was also described as empathetic, putting others before herself, and as a person that is always willing to help. She enlisted in the army when she was 22, and after training, or basic training, she was sent to North Carolina. At Fort Bragg, she was training as an army medic, and according to my research, it's a very demanding job, or at least she felt challenged by it. But she also felt that it was a rewarding career because she was helping other people. this was going to be the second time. She had been seeing this other guy, Justin Thompson. Now, Justin was not from North Carolina. He was from her hometown in Florida. He described her as fun, a good person to be around and overall he kind of made it seem like they wanted this to work and to take it seriously. This was not, according to Justin, a rebound kind of relationship. Kelli even asked, after Mike left, she asked Justin to move in with her. He even mentioned that even though this was, to the eyes of the public, kind of a very fast move, that they were in love and they knew each other better than people thought. Now, in April of 2012, Justin visited Kelli in North Carolina, and for fun, they went to Froggy Bottoms, the bar that I mentioned in the beginning. Then he left and went back to Florida with a definite time to come back in 2 weeks and stay there with Kelli. Now, that didn't happen because that Friday, after Justin left, was April 13th, and Kelli decided to go out by herself, and according to the interviews and what people had said, her job was kind of getting to her, and she wanted to have fun and forget about it for the weekend. So she decided to go for karaoke night and to the same bar where she took Justin Froggy Bottoms. She even texted her sister a selfie before leaving of her, selfie and kind of her outfit, and she was excited to go out. Now, she also told Justin about it, but he wasn't too happy with the idea. I watched this documentary where he's being interviewed, and you could see that either he was jealous or he really was afraid for her safety. I can't figure that one out, but Justin and Kelli texted. Kelli was going to go out anyways, and he knew that, so they kept in touch. And Justin mentioned that was the only way that he could be okay with the idea. Not that anybody was asking him permission, though. On Saturday morning, Olivia, which is Kelli's sister, texted her asking how it was last night, karaoke night, but Kelli never replied, so she decided to call back or get in touch on Monday, since her sister was very stressed and thought that maybe needed the weekend away. On the other hand, Justin, who was was already back in Florida. The ex-husband is also in Florida, but remember, Justin is this new boyfriend that Kelli had at the time. And so he checks his phone and gets a message from Kelli at around 1:30 a.m. saying that she got home late, tired, and drunk, and to call her tomorrow. Well, he didn't get a good vibe with the wording of the text message, so he called her, but she didn't pick up. Apparently, the phone was off. The next day, nobody heard from her. Not Justin, not the sister. So, Sunday comes and Justin decided to call the local police so they could start looking for her. They didn't do much, honestly, since he was only the boyfriend of a married woman, and so they needed either the husband or her family to report her as missing. So the next day, by Monday, Justin called the army base to check on her. By then, they checked to make sure that, she didn't go to work that day, and she didn't. So, army investigators and the police, local police, checked her apartment, but she was not there. They had to call the husband, of course. And Mike, the husband, ended up calling Kelli's sister to notify her that it was Monday and Kelli hasn't been back. Now they knew that something was really wrong. So Olivia and her brother Mike, as well, the three of them planned to go immediately to start to look for themselves. At this point, the local police, the army, and the public joined to look for her too. On the surface, it seemed like she vanished. So police turned to usually the number one suspect or person of interest, which in this case was Mike, the husband that recently got separated from, and according to their research, Kelli was talking about a divorce that Mike didn't really want. They knew that they were separated, but then all of a sudden he's on TV looking like a concerned husband and kind of flaunting a great relationship that they didn't have. At that point, to the police, it looked a little bit suspicious, but he claimed that he was in Florida when she disappeared. Now, I thought and saw the pieces on the news where he talked about Kelli, and I didn't get a bad a separation point in their relationship. And he was right. She was still his wife, and I guess he didn't care that there was a boyfriend involved. He looked genuinely worried, and in my opinion, the last thing you should be worried about is your relationship status, and explain it to the public. To the police, it only makes sense to help their investigation, but I don't know if I would explain the details of our relationship if it was me. They turned to the boyfriend, right, Justin. He explained that he was home in Florida, and it was confirmed that he was. But he gives the police a name or a guy that they should look into. This guy's name is Nick, and he worked at the bar that Kelli visited that night. Apparently, at the time or during the time that he spent in North Carolina, they went to this bar, and Kelli invited this employee to play pool with them and hang out until Kelli and Justin left the bar. Nick, the new friend and also bar employee, asked Kelli for her phone number. Justin didn't think anything of it at the time because since he worked there, it was good to keep him as a quote-unquote bar employee friend. Justin tells the police that Kelli got a ride also that night, that Friday that she disappeared from Nick, and that he was taking her to the bar. And Justin wasn't okay with the idea of Nick giving her a ride, but it was a done deal. And now this bit of information could help the police turn the investigation to that night and kind of start to put together a timeline. The detectives went to the bar and discovered that Nick lived in the woods behind the bar. So they went to the woods and check on his camp. They find him and he agrees to go to the station, and when he is interviewed, he said he gave her a ride, and after she had a good time at the bar, he took her back home and dropped her off at her apartment complex. He said he only knew her for about 6 hours, and he was described as very calm, cooperative, and didn't act guilty. When the police looked into his record, and they found that he was a registered sex offender who served time and was out on parole. They didn't have registered as a sex offender properly, whatever that means. Apparently, there is a process that you have to follow, and even though he was registered and they knew that he was, it was not properly done, which I tried to dig a little bit deeper to understand, but I didn't get anywhere. So they put him in jail to keep an eye on him. While he's there, they interview him a couple of times, and he started lying. To the point that he started to be pushed more and more. And he decided that he didn't want to cooperate with the police anymore. Now at that time there was a guy, an independent PI, and he started his own investigation, and this guy's name is David. David didn't know her, but he was a bounty hunter and a PI, and she was in the army. She was a young woman, and there were no answers in this case, so he decided to take this case and invest resources, money, and time and try to find whoever did it without even telling the police or the family. Now, he was a little bit biased because he was convinced that Nick, the bar employee, was the one responsible for Kelli's disappearance. He this is the private investigator, of course, but he was always trying to come up with a strategy, something that he thought would make this guy, Nick, talk. By now, 18 months passed, and David was still looking for her. He despised Nick, but he wanted to make Nick open up and feel safe to talk to him, so he could show him where the body was, and that way find Kelli. Little by little, the private investigator realized that Nick was afraid of the police keeping an eye on him. So David hired a guy with a look-alike police car to follow him around. And it worked. He got scared. So David, the private investigator, took it a step forward and made his wife pose as a paralegal who served him with indictment papers on Kelli's murder. At that point, Nick was freaking out. So David reminded him of the plea deal the police got, for him. And he said, they have something on you, so you better cut your losses and just take the deal. So at that point, Nick decided that he was not only going to confess to his new friend David, but also take him where the body was. So they took the dog actually, but they couldn't find the body. He didn't quite remember exactly when he placed it. So the night, it was nighttime. So David got him a motel room, and he honestly was afraid that he was going to take his own life and take the secret to where Kelli's body was, to his grave. He wasn't afraid of Nick running because he was paranoid, but he was afraid that he would do something. The next day, David picks him up, but Nick is really quiet. They go back to the forest, and on May 14, 2014, after looking all day for Kelli's body, the dog picked up a scent. So they started digging immediately. As soon as they started digging, they found a jacket and then a bone. So then David, the private investigator, called the police. Police started to question Nick, and he told, even on camera, that that night he gave her a ride to the bar where she learned about his record being registered a registered sex offender, and she made a scene about it in the parking lot. So he grabbed her, hit her unconscious, and took her to his camp, where she woke up and started screaming. Well, much details about how he did, and it doesn't really matter. He ended up pleading guilty to kidnap and murder charges in exchange for life in prison, because he did qualify for the death penalty. Now, I wanted to share this case because even though David was a private investigator, I just find it interesting to know that somebody other than the police had the resources to find answers to something that everyone knew who did it, or quote unquote knew, but nobody could get it out of the guy. So he used some unconventional strategies to make him confess to something as horrible as the murder of Kelli Bordeaux. So, this was a mix of, I don't know, the good guy trying to find answers for a girl that was part of a cold case that deserved justice. And I think this is the second case that I covered recently about girls meeting guys that work at bars, and they're either a security or, whatever they do at the bar, and almost like they feel like they're safe. And because of that, they just, I don't know, let themselves be vulnerable. I mean, in a way, in a stranger's car. And I mean, just because they work at the bar doesn't mean that they are good people and they have your best interest. I'm sure there's a lot of people out there who do have the best interest in their customers, and they work in a bar or at a bar, but what I'm saying is that sometimes, because of the labels or because of the job that you have or because the position that you hold, some people will trust more, and it's not the best idea. It wasn't in this case, and it wasn't in the other case that I mentioned. Can't remember her first name, but the girl that was killed at the University of Utah. And she was dating this guy who was security in downtown Salt Lake City bar there. So such a tragic case, such a wonderful, tough young lady who took care of herself her entire life, who was strong-willed and, overall, even physically. But that kind of shows you that when you let your guard down with a stranger, when you don't really know them that well, these things can happen, and sadly, often. Let me know if you know about this case. I got this idea somewhat recently from Susie, old subscriber. She mentioned that she knew the family, or a friend of the family, and how different this case was. And it really was because of the way that they got to the truth. But sadly, this is beautiful young girls. Or their pictures are sometimes in a missing poster, and it's more often than it should. So thank you